Hello, my name is Andy and I am the Village Idiot. I'm armed with a car and a GoPro and an unhealthy amount of time on my hands. I'm using that time to attempt to visit every civil parish in England. You're watching the Harrogate series. Harrogate is a large borough, one of the 11 districts of North Yorkshire. It's got 139 civil parishes. Which one are we in this episode? Welcome back to Harrogate, everybody. You find me at the beginning of this episode where we left off last week. I am halfway up Armscliff Crag on the parish boundary between Stainburn and today's village. And you can see from here a magnificent view into the valley below. Look at that. The Yorkshire countryside. Isn't it beautiful? I'm so glad it's not raining right now because you wouldn't be able to see any of that. It's absolutely fabulous. If you ever get the chance to come to Armscliff Crag, trust me, you will enjoy yourself. So I'm going to get down off Armscliff Crag now and head towards today's village. Welcome to the parish of North Rigton. Here's my disclaimer for people who may be watching me for the first time. I say things as I would in my native accent and dialect. As a result, I may not pronounce things in the same way as the locals do. Remember, I'm a visitor. It's impossible to know everything. Leave me a comment, spin me a like and bash that subscribe button. Let's get to today's parish video. For the fourth go around in Harrogate, we have North Rigton, a small village just to the north of the A658. For centuries, this village was known simply as Rigton, which means farmstead on the ridge. That makes sense because it literally does stand on a ridge, a south-facing slope of sandstone over 150 metres high. North was added to its name in 1962 in order to distinguish it from East Rigton, which we covered back in the Leeds series. Remember that one? The village was mentioned in the Domesday Book, and at that time it was part of a royal hunting forest. The settlement was acquired by the de Mowbray family, yes, the very same who we spoke about in Haxey. They donated large swathes of land to Fountains Abbey. In the 16th century, in swooped the Fairfaxes, who would take it over until it was sold to the Earl of Harewood in 1796. Like Stainburn, the village was historically a township in the parish of Kirby Overblow in the West Riding of Yorkshire before it became a separate civil parish in 1866. The Harewood estate sold most of the farms and property still in its ownership in 1951, and in 1974 North Rigton was transferred to the new county of North Yorkshire. Farming has made the community here what it is today and still provides local meat, milk and crops. Without it, this beautiful area would look very, very different. Let's see what it looks like and take in some more lovely scenery on the way. We begin at the top of Rigton Hill at the village garden, sited on a piece of land gifted to the village by the 6th Earl of Harewood. For many years, the site was used as a garden and allotment by local resident William John Bradley, better known as Ginner. With the aid of lottery funding, it was transformed by 2008 into one of the village's greatest assets and a regular venue for events. Most recently, this was where the residents came together to celebrate Queen Elizabeth II's Platinum Jubilee in 2022. Directly opposite the garden is a cluster of houses, through which there's a public footpath to the other side of the village. This is a little hard to follow at first because it uses someone's drive, but then it becomes a tree-lined oasis for about 400 yards. We've now reached Crag Lane, the road which runs to the west towards Armscliffe Crag and the parish boundary with Stainburn. The village has undergone many changes over the centuries. There used to be lots of thatched properties, but they no longer stand. One thing that's remained a constant out here though is the scenery, and given we're on a slope, it's not likely to change. Okay, so we're starting to round the bend coming back into the village after walking along the northern edge of it. That didn't take me very long. It took me about 10 minutes to walk from the village garden to this point here. This shows you how small North Rigton is. Having said that, it might be small, but it does have quite a few bits and bobs of interest. There's a set of stocks to see for a start, and I know they're coming up on the right-hand side in a few minutes. There's a pub, there's a school, and a few other little bits, so let's go and check it all out and see exactly what North Rigton has to offer. Many of North Rigton's old buildings have been removed, converted or enlarged, and most residents work in nearby towns and cities. Some old buildings do still remain. This property, originally a house, was donated by Lord Harewood to become North Rigton's vicarage. That's because it stands right next to the church dedicated to St John the Evangelist. This is a modern church built in 1911. Before that, North Rigton had no church at all. Residents had to travel either to Kirby Overblow or to St Mary's in Stainburn. One of its cutest features, in my opinion anyway, is this round window halfway up its tower, which depicts St John. Once again, it's down to the Harewood estate that there is now a church here, as they donated the land this building stands upon. Inside you'll find some fine oak furniture. The credence table and altar rails bear the mark of Robert Thompson, the Mouseman of Kilburn. On the wall is the Roll of Honour, which lists 10 names, the 8 local men who were lost in World War I and the 2 lost in World War II. And here's that round window from the inside. Doesn't this look different when the light shines through it? So I described this as a simple, uncomplicated little church really. It's nice and peaceful, nice and quiet, and it's good that it's open too. You can come in and just sit and enjoy that peace and quiet. We're going to move on though and see what else North Rigton has got. We're going to head up towards its pub now and the set of stocks that I was talking about the last time I spoke to the camera. So we'll check them out and carry on towards the end. Methodism in the village goes back to 1816. The original chapel stood on Rigton Hill. Back then it was called Chapel Hill. It was replaced by this building in 1932, which closed in the late 1990s and became Chapel Hall, now an exercise studio. You used to be able to get a bus outside it, but since 2008 the bus which used to serve this stop no longer runs through North Rigton. Complementing the Roll of Honour in the church, over the road is the War Memorial, a triangular slab of stone with an inscription on a plaque. Here's the stocks. Possibly 17th century, these were removed from an old pinfold in 1930 and restored. They would be again in 1960. The parish notice board is here too. Tick off North Rigton everyone, 4 down now, and Harrogate still has 135 to go. Now, do you fancy a pint? Well, there's been a pub in North Rigton for over 200 years, and until the 1940s, this was called the Blacksmith's Arms. Now known as the Square and Compass, it changed in 1942 to celebrate Lord Harewood's appointment as a Freemason. Continuing down the road, the village starts to get a little more residential again until we reach the school on the left-hand side. Built in 1851 as a national school at the expense of the Harewood estate, this replaced the original 1759 building on Crag Lane. Now down the side of the school there's a footpath which takes us back to the beginning, and this passes what I assume is like a little playing field just here. Not the biggest one you've ever seen, but there are a couple of football nets and there's a picnic table over there and something in the corner. I'm not sure what that is. Might be a patch of allotments. looks very much like it could be. We'll wander up and see, because I know the allotment fans out there will be keen to know the answer, if indeed they are allotments. Let's see. It's a very stony, rocky path, this one. It's certainly not flat, and it's certainly not an easy one to walk down, but it does take us back to the beginning. So that's been North Rigton. Nice circuit of this place. Yes, indeed, these are allotments. I can see that they are now. There's not many of them, it's just a small patch, but I know those people out there who like to see these will be loving the fact that North Rigton has some. So there you go. Behind the school, by the way, is a moated site thought to have once been the site of a manor house belonging to the Delethley family in the 13th century. The footpath we've just walked skirts the edge of it and leads back to Rigton Hill. All that remains is to walk up it back to the village garden, and you can see from this shot just how steep it is. There's a few bits to catch in the car. For one, just south of the village is the Leeds to Harrogate railway line, which we met in Hewby. This is Rigton Level Crossing, which was in the news last year owing to the body of a local Harrogate woman found close by. I won't name her, but there is a news article below. Lastly, we take a drive through the hamlet of Brackenthwaite, a long linear settlement some 4 miles away from Harrogate, which North Rigton's boundaries cover. The funny thing is that to access this from the south, you have to leave the boundaries first, crossing into Pannell and Burn Bridge briefly before heading back to the west. Much like Braythorn, Brackenthwaite is spread out with only a cluster or two of properties dotted along its one main road. It does include a campsite called Rudding Farm and the well-known Harrogate Riding Centre, which offers lessons for all ages. Now, it should be noted that because of that, you're very likely to meet horses on this road, which, as you can see, I did. Do be careful when passing them, folks. Time to move on. I'll see you in the next one, which is around 2 miles to the north. Bye for now. Thanks for watching this video, folks. Don't forget to like this episode if you haven't already. It really makes a difference with YouTube. If you're new here, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this, and give us a share too if you've got friends who'd like it. You can find all the links to my social media accounts below, as well as my Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate to the channel. Also, if you've enjoyed this episode, have a look at some more videos in this series. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as the Village Idiot, and I'm out.